that's a one-on-one group, easy to engage them. Lexia is an independent group, so checking on them. They were on the site that they were supposed to be on, going through the different levels. Mrs. Slack worked with the vocabulary group, so she was keeping them engaged. They were finishing a vocabulary foldable. And then independent reading, where they read books of choice in their Lexile level. Another para was helping them. So
it sounds like having paras in this class are very beneficial.
yes.
My question would be, if those paras were gone, how do you see that altering what you would do in the classroom?
I could still do those stations, and I have when they've been absent. I just might change the stations up a little bit. Like we have, all the kids have sight word cards, and so that would be something more independently that they could work on in the stations if one of the paras were absent. I may not do mini lessons that day, so I could be available to kind of go to each of the groups a little bit more. And we've done it. We just get more interruptions.
Absolutely. Yeah. It may not be as productive, but you're still going to get that engagement and use those workshops. So when you think back to the lesson that you gave, did the students learn what you intended? Were your instructional goals met, and how do you know that?
I think so. The instructional goals were to go through the different, were to go through the different stations. They completed their vocabulary, which then after that we did a little kind of quiz over the story with the vocabulary, and they did okay on that. The mini lessons, that's ongoing. Once they complete those and they go back on the Lexia, if they understood it and the mini lesson worked, then they'll be able to pass that level. So that's kind of ongoing.
So when you're working with students in that mini lesson group, I saw that the students were over there for sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
What is your ability to differentiate that based on their needs? Why do you do some students 5 minutes, some students 10 minutes? Is there a reason for that?
It's basically just the lesson that Lexia produces and has you go through. Some of them are quicker than others as far as what they have you interact with the students, and some of it, like one of them, for example, a sight word one, is read through these sight words. If they get them all correct, that's it.
Okay.
And so sometimes it's just in a one-on-one setting. They can do the sight words, like flipping flashcards. If they're at the computer, they're distracted or something like that. So sometimes that's the difference.
Absolutely. So you brought up that they might be distracted from computers. One of the things I'm going to talk to you about here shortly is how we can make the Lexia station very independent.
Mm-hmm.
But what are the big concerns of just letting them go on their own? It sounds like distractions are a problem.
Distractions, the fact that they can flip, back and forth, they can turn on music, they can be on a different screen. Who they're sitting by, the way I group them sometimes for Lexia is just drawing sticks out of a container. Because typically when I pull them, it doesn't matter what group they're in for me to pull them. I just pull the kids I need to.
Gotcha.
For the mini lessons or the. Mm-hmm. So that, and then just if there's any other activity in the room, like the independent reading kids will come get a book or get a book talk form or something, and so then there's movement.
Okay.
They're highly distracted
Something's
kids.
going to throw them off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there a way that you could change something in the room? I mean, I can't see this in the video because there's very limited space, but is there anything you think you could do in the room that could help do that, or that you already do?
I guess the only thing really is the cushions are part of the independent reading station, but I don't know how I could put those back here as far as space wise.
Pretty limited space.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's fine. This room you can't see, but it's probably 20 by 30. So, yep. So thinking back to the lesson, did you alter anything for the lesson as you taught it during that day, just that class period? Was anything changed during that time?
I don't believe so as far as instructional. I know there's one student that comes from the BSP room who kind of needs more accommodations, and she, most of the kids are expected, this is the Lexia table. When you're doing Lexia, you need to go to that table. I just kind of let her
She's getting the work done, she's getting the work done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a battle I don't fight.
And that's good.
So I would say that's, I mean, some days she'll rotate, most days she wants to sit over there, even like the headphones. The rule is you're supposed to have headphones in for Lexia, so it's not distracting other people or that you can be more focused. She refuses to wear headphones.
Okay, but she gets Lexia done.
She gets it done.
Speakers turned
Yep.
on.
I mean, and so she has it on. It's just low, and that's sometimes why she sits over there. So it's just those little accommodations, but those are like, you're flexible on your feet. You have no idea what's going to happen, so you just kind of have to do it.
One day where she wants to sit over there, another day she might want to join a group, and as long as you got that flexibility with those students, especially with students that have high needs like our students in BSB. So,
yes.
Great. So, if you had the opportunity to teach that entire lesson again, what I observed to the same exact group of students, is there anything that you do differently?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it went fairly well.
So too.
Other than, I'm thinking back, and that was a little bit of time ago. There wasn't any. I mean, sometimes, not that particular day, but sometimes when you just draw the sticks, then you're like, oops, like that kid probably shouldn't be sitting with that kid when you're rotating groups. So I try to then, like the two Hedges boys, I try to keep them separated, but I have them. They don't not behave, but sometimes they just get on each other's nerves.
Yeah.
Because they're siblings. So I try to make sure that they're in separate groups.
Absolutely. And how do you, since you're just drawing, how do you ensure that happens?
I just sometimes change it up. Like Jared's going to go here, and then no, Jordan, he's going to go down here.
Gotcha.
So just kind of,
work their middle school minds a little bit.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, on your pre-observation, you talked about the teaching standards you wanted to meet. Standard 3, which is demonstrating competence in planning and preparation for instruction, and Standard 4, using strategies to deliver instruction that meets the multiple needs of students. In reference to Standard 3, I absolutely think the standard was met. A couple different reasons. Achievement data was being used for developing guided groups. So when you look at Lexia, yeah, I didn't know if it was either. Lexia it's given to you, which is nice, but you still have to go out of your way to get those groups set up right. It tells you the skills that they're struggling with, tells you the skills that they're lacking, and then you need to group them together. And you do that. You do that all the time here, so that's great. There's a high expectation for social and behavioral accountability, and that's visible in the room. The use of the para is obviously great. The more adults we have in here, the amount of adults we have in here is appropriate for the level of students that we have. So you're able to relinquish some of that power to them as well. So now it feels like there's 3 teachers in the classroom as opposed to just 1. That's huge. Also using available technologies in the classroom. So you have students who are constantly on the Chromebook working on Lexia. They use a projector every day. It's right in the front. Use Chromebooks for other activities. They can read using their Chromebooks. Those are 3 reasons why that standard was absolutely met. So good job on that. Standard 4, which is using strategies to deliver instruction that meets the multiple needs of students. I also believe that standard was met. In your class here, even though it's an essentials class and most students are significantly lower in reading and math, there's still variance in levels between the students in here.
Right.
Your BSB student, look at her Lexile score, it's probably quite a bit higher than some of the other students. How do you meet her needs, having her in the same room, 20 by 30 with these guys? I think you do a great job differentiating between the groups that you have. You align the lesson to district and building goals and standards. We require you guys to use Lexia. You do that for the appropriate amount of time each day. Push for independent reading, that's a huge push for our building, and they get that opportunity to do that in the workstations. Guided grouping, again, one of our big pushes. We're excited to see you guys do that in here. And then the GRR model. So just making sure that we're showing them how to do it, or relinquishing some of the power, and then eventually they have to come back with you and do it independently. Yeah. And to me, those are the big pieces that you're doing that make these lessons work. We'd like to see, obviously, super fast improvement, but with some of these students, any improvement's great, and that's what we're starting to see. So definitely use research-based techniques that address full range of abilities. An example of that is the Tier 3 lessons you do with them. It's all research-based. It's focused on lagging skills that they have. We're using that time to really hone in on those key standards for you. And then varied experiences. So we've talked about workshop model in our PLC. We've talked about it in special education meetings. We've talked about it in all of these areas. It's also pushes in the building. It's nice to see that you're implementing that. So good job with those. A couple of questions I have for you. You kind of already answered. But what data do you look at when assigning your guided groups?
And guided groups are just the way they rotate.
The way they rotate, or what they're doing when they're in those groups as well.
Well, the guided groups with the Lexia mini lessons, that basically is what they've struggled with maybe on the previous day on the Lexia program. So that's kind of set up for me.
Okay.
The other groups, right now, it's mostly I just group them. It
Okay.
doesn't have anything to do. There's really not very many outliers. Like, I mean, Destiny is out. You know, her level is a little bit higher, but she still needs a lot of help.
Yeah.
I mean, she can
So
read
there's
and
not really a
comprehend.
reason why she would have to be separated
Right.
from everybody else based on
Other than, I mean, if I give her, you know, this, she can read it, but she still needs help with focusing and going through the questions or
so her
answering
being
stuff.
with this student or this student, this student
It's
wouldn't
okay.
make too much of a difference
Right.
in this class. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, that's the good thing about this class is that it's available for those students who are at really low level, which makes differentiation a lot easier because they're all kind of working towards the same piece. So, great. The things that I really want to reinforce with you are our workshop model. I mean, I want you to keep pushing that. You probably use your credits in this class better than 99% of our classes in this building. And that's huge. I mean, they're here, we want to pay them, we want to make them more useful. They're obviously assigned students, they don't have to just work with that student, they work with, you know, SE or mixing or all of our students, that's huge. The workshop model is just so key because you can't just have these kids focus on one thing, you're going to lose their attention.
Right.
We're on a block schedule for you guys to know, which obviously makes it
A long chunk of time.
tough. It's really hard for these guys to stay focused for that amount of time. So the more we can vary the activity, the more likely we are to see engagement. So some of the things I do want you to focus on, working to get this station, this Lexia station, to be a little more independent. And I know it's tough because of the distractions. Maybe that's something we can think of a reward system. They get X amount of levels done, certain proficiency over the course of however long. They can earn something. That's just an idea, but something to keep them focused while they're here, other than you just having to sit next to them and make sure they stay focused. We want it to be where you can work with small groups, pair up with reading, pair up with vocabulary. These guys can do it on their own. They rotate, and that's just the expectation. But that being said, that station doesn't work without this. Independent reading doesn't probably work without Lexia. So if this station's not done right, you know, no need to make this independent right away because it's not done right. That station needs nothing. That station probably needs nothing. Half probably doesn't need much either. So I mean, it's kind of all based on what they're doing here. I do want you to always keep in mind. I mean, right now, obviously, the ability level is very similar in most of your classes. But if there are lessons that need more differentiation, making sure that we're separated based on that. And then the third piece, another push that we have in our school improvement plan is student choice. And we want to have those students have that opportunity to make those choices. So Lexia is pretty cut and dry. It is what it is. They have to do this. Independent reading, other than the book that they get to choose, is also pretty cut and dry. So is the tier 3 lessons. But the vocabulary is something that I want you to think about for different student choice options. When I came and watched, everyone was doing their, what do you call it, the foldable, which is fine. That's a great way to do it. But if a student learns better by doing note cards, or if a student learns better by writing on popsicle sticks and the definition on the other side, giving them that opportunity to think what works best for them. Now, some of these kids may not have a strategy that works best for them, and they may need something assigned. But if there are students who make that known that this is stupid or I don't want to do this, that's fine. Let's find something that does work. Okay.
Absolutely.
So for action plan, a couple different things. Use Lexia to differentiate your groups and begin to differentiate further using other data. We'll work on that during our PLC. That's our push. We already talked about our phase 2. And then how do we ensure that this station gets done with high fidelity while still making an independent workstation? You just mentioned to me before we started videoing that you're going to meet with Carrie O'Donnell-Brink, who's our Lexia guru in the district. It's going to help you find a way to monitor those minutes to check for implementation. So what I want to do is I just want to, the PLC planning, we'll do that. We meet every Tuesday and Friday. We'll start doing that on Friday, and then the following Tuesday we'll work to differentiate a little bit more if needed. And then Lexia, you said you're meeting with her tomorrow, so if you can just send me your report on what you figured out, and again, we can discuss that at PLC. Do you have any further questions for me on the observation that we did?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time, and thank you guys.